it was all of those things. It was paradise and hellacious. It was almost what the characters were going through, we were going through. We were obviously isolated because we were doing it during the height of the pandemic, so we couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you couldn't even, you know, stroll off of the beach and go to the local town. You couldn't do anything, right? The actors and I, we were just there, back to the hotel, back again. So we had that same sense of being trapped, but it was also beautiful and an intense feeling of this juxtaposition of something very scary happening in our lives, and yet we're in a beautiful place. And I think that thing of horror and beauty together is what makes Old, I can kind of special for audiences, that they see it and it sticks with them, that juxtaposition. You know, I'm definitely, when I sit to think about a movie, I think about my aunt who lives in Malaysia, and my cousin who's in London, and my other cousin in Singapore, and my uncle who lives in Australia, and I have family all around the world, and I think that all of those influences, especially the cinema from all the different places in the world as well, are in my movies, and it's an important part of who I am. And so when I tell stories, they're for the whole world, and United States is where my home is, but it's one of many places I'm telling the story to. And so to have a cast that represents so many of those countries, I mean, we had so many people from all the different countries, and so many of them did their accents themselves. It was a beautiful thing to have a story where people of all different backgrounds were just playing dad, mom, neighbor, doctor. They weren't playing their ethnicity. They were just playing being a dad or a mom or a husband, you know, and we were supposed to identify with them. That's a really beautiful thing, that we're at that place. Well, my kids are the reason I'm doing this movie, because they gave me the graphic novel for Father's Day. So very ironic, of, you know, a movie about aging and kids growing up, and your kids actually give you this graphic novel, and they found it's an obscure graphic novel they found in a comic book store. It was like, it's actually like a movie, you know, premise of like finding this obscure book. And you know, Shauna, who directed Second Unit, is amazing filmmaker. I mean, all our kids grew up in a house of art, you know? I always tell them when they were babies, and a fan comes up to me and says, "Oh, I love your movies," and they walk away and they go, "What do you think about that, Dad?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, that person paid for one of the bricks of our house. So you have to be gracious to them, you know?" And I said, and and it's from the things that I make up in my head, so we're really, really lucky. And so they have really come to honor the art form of film and music and dance and all of those. They take it very seriously. And so Shauna has grown up in that environment and is an amazing filmmaker. And so it was a beautiful thing to be on one side of the beach shooting, and I see down the beach she's shooting something else. It's an amazing feeling. And at the end of the day, we were like, you know, work buddies. At the end of the day, we would go and have a drink and eat something at the bar, at the hotel, and then fall asleep. And we would just chat about what happened. "Oh, I can't believe the camera jammed on that thing." And we would share stories. It was the first time I really was connected to nature at that level. You know, I think like all of us, I have a very limited relationship with nature. I occasionally go out. There's occasionally a pool that we go to. We walk around the lawn sometimes. You know, you take a walk. You know, it's like prescribed and that kind of thing. But when we made this movie, I was outside all day long, from the sunrise to sunset every single day, dealing with the movement of the heat, the water, all of that stuff. When it rained, we stopped. When there was a thunderstorm, we stopped. Everything, we're very in sync with nature, and that makes you very present. You don't think about, and none of our phones worked out there. None of technology worked out there on that beach. So it was really much, you were there in nature, and I felt like I became a different person. First, it was difficult, and all that toxins are in me, but then it went away, and I actually found it beautiful. And I, you know, loved being out there for 12, 15 hours. And even now, speaking of it, I miss it, that version of me. And you are just there because you're so aware that everything's moving. The ocean is moving, the sun is moving, and this moment only exists now, and so you say action, and you capture something, and it's just that moment where that light is, and the ocean's here, and the mist is coming in. It's just that moment. You're never going to get that again. That you feel very lucky, and that is all of our lives all the time. We just don't think about it. Occasionally we go and we look at the sunrise when we're on vacation, or the sunset on vacation, and we go, wow, but we have that same sunset and sunrise where we live. We just never look at it. I think, when I was thinking of the premise, and I wondered whether audiences would be okay without a physical villain. There isn't a raptor chasing them, trying to eat them. It's time. And would they be able to wrap their arms around that existential threat? But they do. They very much feel it, clipping at their heels the whole movie. I think it's a form of us being scared of dying. That when I say, hey, when you're 13 years old, are you thinking about, does a 13-year-old boy think about vulnerability? No, they don't think about anything. They're going to live forever, right? Their perception of time is so slow that I'm going to live in 80 more years or 70 more years feels like 4,000 years to them. But if I sped it up that fast, where they're going, oh my, I have till nightfall to live, then it's suddenly extremely scary for whatever age you're at. And so it's about our relationship to time, and do we feel like this is a linear thing that ends, and is that the correct way to think about it? We're all so scared of dying. This is just another version of that. Sometimes I talk about ghosts, but this one is about time.